Yay! Good morning, entrepreneur. My name is Christian Brown, and today we're going to be talking about The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. Chapter 3, Build Confidence and Destroy Fear. Part 1. So let's start off by talking about fear. So what is fear? Fear is worry, embarrassment, lack of confidence, uncertainty. It's all these things. And what does a doctor do if they diagnose you with something, say fear? They don't just diagnose you, right? They know what this stems from, but they give you a treatment. And David has just a treatment for this. Very simply put, action cures fear. And I can prove this in a myriad of different ways, but think about if you've ever gone bridge jumping or maybe cliff jumping or you've gone skydiving, something like that, or maybe even just jumping off the high dive when you were a kid. You had some fear about it, right? All these things, you're worried before you do that jump. You're like, oh my God, it's going to be so scary. It's so far. But as soon as you take that jump, all the fear goes away. Or if you were that person who was standing right on the edge and you couldn't do it, but your friend pushed you, as soon as you fell off, that worry was gone, right? That fear was gone. So fear, it's a psychological thing, and you can get rid of it through action. I have a perfect way of showing how action cures fear in my own life, actually. Because if you knew me, you'd know that 3 to 4 years ago, I could never do anything like this. I was completely socially inept. I wasn't cool. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of confidence. This is before I started reading self-improvement books and really working on myself, all that. I was kind of a loser, honestly. And what I realized in life is that if I was going to have a wonderful, happy, successful life, I needed to change something. And what I realized is most important in life, right? What's most important above all else, in my opinion, is happiness, right? Being happy fundamentally matters more than anything else. My personal happiness first, and then friends, and then family, and then friends, etc. But where does real happiness come from? It doesn't come from the things you have and the things you do and all sorts of external things. Really, it comes from relationships. Having wonderful relationships with friends and family and making great memories and looking back on fond experiences that you had with others. This is what I think truly brings happiness. And so for me, because I was so socially inept and I wasn't good at talking to people or making friends, I needed to learn how to go out and talk to people, right? The thing, I always wanted to have a girlfriend. I was 23, 24. I'd never had a girlfriend before. So what I did, which might sound a little funny, is I started studying pickup. Not like pickup in terms of, the backhanded compliments, all that crazy BS, all the negative stuff people hear about with, picking up girls and whatnot, but the good stuff. And what I learned was, what pickup really taught me was to be confident in myself, to be a man, to believe in myself, to be responsible and be disciplined and do the things that I should do and go after what I want, not be afraid of things. And really, throughout this process, there's about a 7-month process for me as I learned this stuff, and I took myself from being completely socially inept to actually having a wonderful friend group and really improving my life. And what I really had to do in order to gain this is I couldn't just read all this stuff and watch all these videos. I had to put it in action. And the scariest thing was that in order to do that, I had to go talk to girls, right? Because at this point in my life, I'd made friends here and there. Obviously, we've all had great friend groups, but I hadn't talked with a lot of girls. And fundamentally, like sales or anything in life, it's a numbers game, right? You're not just going to meet one girl or meet some person and suddenly that person's going to be right for you and you're going to find your girlfriend and it's going to be great. No, you might have to talk to 10, 20, 30, maybe even 100 different people, right? 99% of the people out there might not be right for you, and you got to find that 1 in 100 or 1 in a million. So if I was going to find a girlfriend, I had to talk to a lot of different girls, and that was scary. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this, wanting to talk to a guy or a girl you're interested in, or you saw them across the bar, or you knew them through a friend, and you look at them and you see them and you're like, oh man, I really want to talk to him. And what do? A couple seconds go by, you're like, I'm going to do it. All right, let's do it. A few more seconds go by, you're like, okay, wait, all right, what if I say the wrong thing? A few more seconds go by, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, yeah, well, what if they don't like me? And this isn't going to turn out well. And once 10 plus seconds go by, and it starts getting to a minute, 2 minute plus, you start building up all these reasons in your mind why you can't go talk to them, because you start putting them on a pedestal. And you don't want to get hurt, you don't want to get rejected, all these different things, and you build it all up, and it suddenly becomes this monumentous task to just walk up to someone and say hi, which seems crazy, but I'm sure you've all probably experienced it. And we as humans, most of us, like to talk to other people, right? I would say just about all of us, want to be introduced to new people and make new friends and make new connections, almost all the time. And so why is it that when you want to go talk to that guy or girl that you're interested in, once you see them and you're ready to do it, 10 seconds later, you're all fussed up in your head and you can't make it happen? It's because fear manifests itself and builds from inaction. So as time goes by, you just start worrying more and more and more, and more anxiety happens. So what I learned from this pickup stuff is that action cures fear. So when you see that guy or girl you're interested in talking to at the bar or on the street or anywhere, what I learned is that I just have to immediately walk up and talk to them. I won't give myself more than a second to think about it. Because as soon as I do that, bam, you walk over, you say hi. Hi, my name's Christian Brown. Nice to meet you. And what happens? Nobody's going to reject you for saying hi. I mean, maybe they will, but if they do, that person wasn't worth talking to anyway. Right? If you go over to someone, you say, hi, my name's Christian, they're almost always going to go, oh, well, hi, I'm James. Right? And they're just going to say hi and probably become friends. And next thing you know, you might have a great conversation with them and it turns out fantastic because they were probably interested in meeting someone too. And, you were bold enough to walk over to them and say hi. So, boom. And here's the thing. As soon as you make that decision within a second of seeing that person and going over and making it happen, that fear melts away, right? It might be there a little bit until you actually get to them, but it only takes a couple seconds. Bam, you're right there. Hi, my name's Christian. Suddenly you're in a conversation. We've all been in hundreds, thousands of millions of conversations. We know how to do a conversation. That's easy. And off we go. Fear is gone. Action cures fear. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about fear and not just what it is and how to cure it, but how it sort of manifests itself in people to actually hurt them in their life. David talks about this man who is a buyer at a large retail organization, and they were talking, and this man was going, David, I've got these problems. I used to have, the best department in our store. We were always up in sales. We were always crushing it for many years. I've been with them for 6 years, and just this last year, it's just not been working. My section alone is down 7%, and the store itself is up 6%. So that's not good. My salespeople are starting to notice it. Like I'm missing something. Even the managers, executives, everybody, and I don't know what to do. And he'd been going on like this for like 6 months apparently. And David just immediately said, well, what are you going to do about it? Right? And the guy's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, stop worrying about it and start thinking about it. What are you going to do? And David said there's 2 things that you can do, right? And the first is figure out why your sales are falling. And decide right now that you're going to figure out why that is and start getting your sales up. And you may be on the verge of getting fired, but that you haven't yet. So go talk to your merchandising manager and ask him what he thinks you should do, and then go start talking to your sales reps and tell them to get pumped and get some enthusiasm back in you. Basically let everyone know that you're still alive. You can do this. And then second, just in case, go out and, get some offers for some other jobs. It's much easier to find a job or find an offer for a new job if you already have a job, right? It's really hard if you don't have a job. So get all those ready and set up secondarily. I think it was less than a year later that David met and spoke with the man again. And the man said, I can't believe what you said worked so well. The man had done exactly that. He had spoken with everybody in his department, told them he was still alive again. He's going to make it happen. And he had already taken his department to back up being the number one department in his store. And he said, David, on top of that, I even got 2 job offers from some other places. I didn't take them because I had a great job. I didn't want to lose this anyway. But, once I had those, once I did that, all my fear went away, all my worries went away, and everything was great again. So what does this tell us? Not only can fear hold us back in the moment or paralyze us to, go talk to someone or take an opportunity, something like that, but even in what you're doing in everyday life, it can hurt you, right? Think about relationships, people who are dating each other. It's kind of been shown that if 2 people are in a relationship and one of them's really worrying that the other one's going to cheat, that person who's doing the worry ends up being more likely to actually cheat in that relationship, right? They're so worried and so afraid that the other person's going to screw up and ruin everything that they end up screwing it up themselves. So you can't let fear hold you back and screw everything up. You have to squash it by taking an action. All right, so now I'm just going to go down this list. David has a list of 7 common fears and actions you can take to cure those fears. The first one being embarrassment because of personal appearance. What's the action you got to take? Start working on your personal appearance. Look at yourself in the mirror every day. Try to fix your hair. You don't need to spend a bunch of money on a new shirt, new things like that. Just be healthy. Take care of your skin, do your hair. Make sure you look good every morning. Get prepared before you go off into the world. Don't just wake up like a slob and move out. Second thing, fear of losing an important customer. Rather than worrying you're going to lose an important customer, just dive right in. Think about all the things that you can do to help them. Just do doubly good extra customer service. Third thing, fear of failing an examination. Rather than worrying about the exam, convert that worry time into studying. I don't know about you, but when I was in college, I got worried about exams a lot. And I'd worry about them for like a week or 2 or 3 if they're finals. And all that time spent worrying, where I was wasting all this mental energy thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? I could have just been sitting there actually studying the material, and then when the exam came around, it would have been no problem. Fourth one is fear of things beyond your control. He says, turn your attention to helping to relieve the fear of others and pray. Also, personally, I would add something to that. When you have the fear of things totally beyond your control, just accept it. Something I learned in my life that really just makes me way more relaxed, and I think it could do it for all of you as well, is just accept everything in your life. Good things, bad things, doesn't matter. If you accept things, you will be much more comfortable. Your mind will be much more at ease. You'll be able to talk and think much better than you could before. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you out there get in bed every night and it takes you hours to fall asleep. I learned 2 years ago, I'd say, if I tried to go to sleep, it would take hours to go to sleep every time. Nowadays, I can fall asleep in 5 minutes every single time, and it's because I have just accepted everything in my life. I accept, what's happening at work, what's going on with my relationships, things that are happening in my family, whether good or bad. I just think about everything critically and accept it, and I'm okay with it, whether it's good or bad. It's important to accept everything in your life as it is. So that will crush the fear of things totally beyond your control. 5, Fear of being physically hurt by something you can't control, such as a tornado or an airplane out of control. He says just switch your attention to something totally different. Go out into your lawn and pull up weeds, play with your children, go to a movie. Just do something, right? Do an action. It cures fear. Then we've got 3 more. The 6th fear is fear of what other people may think and say. He says the action to cure this is make sure that what you plan to do is right, then do it. No one ever does anything worthwhile for which he is not criticized. So true. 7, the fear of making an investment or purchasing a home. This one's very simple, right? Don't worry about the money you're going to spend. Analyze it. The action is analyze all factors, then be decisive. Make a decision and stick with it. Trust your own judgment. This is a huge one, actually, that I want to talk about. Being indecisive will make you super worry about so many different things. It's important that whenever a decision comes in front of you, think critically about it, decide as fast as you can, if you can decide right then and there, and stick with it as long as you can. Really successful people make decisions and stick with them. Yes, they will change their decision occasionally, and that is okay, and that usually only happens because they learn other things that affect how they thought about something, so then they change their decision. So it's important to make decisions, stick with them, be decisive. That will conquer the fear of making an investment or purchasing a home or just making any sort of decision whatsoever. Unsuccessful people frequently are indecisive, right? Do I want this job or that job? Took too long, both the offers were gone. Don't be indecisive. And lastly, 8, the fear of people. The action to get rid of the fear of people is put them in proper perspective. Remember, the other person is just another human being, pretty much just like yourself. David has a 2-step process for conquering fear and winning confidence. 1, isolate your fear, pin it down, determine exactly what it is that you are afraid of, and then 2, take action. There is some action for every kind of fear. Thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. I would be stoked if you could subscribe. Please like and share, comment, whatever you'd like to do. That would be cool. Also, today I obviously talked about a couple things that weren't actually in the book, such as how to accept everything in your life in order to become content and relaxed and sleep easier, and also how successful people are decisive and unsuccessful people aren't. And last but not least, how you can control your memories and emotions to simply become a much happier person. If you have any question about any of this sort of stuff, please comment below, ask me about it. I'd love to answer your questions. Thank you so much. And once again, whatever you're going to do, make it happen now.